our snitch's car. Turns out we find 2 grams of meth in it. We take it to the lab. They come back, they tell us it is the purest they've ever seen.
99.1%.
The work of an artist.
This is the only other thing left behind.
The mask.
Now, we don't know who they are, where they come from, but they possess an extremely high skill set. Me personally, thinking Albuquerque just might have a new kingpin.
Love this cut. Like what they think they look like and who it actually is. Love the juxtaposition between that. Like I said in the previous episode, we're probably not gonna see what Walter said by the end of that episode, right? But we have an idea of it. Tick, tick, tick. Time is ticking.
I chased your Aunt Marie here all over creation. I mean, I kept bugging her for... She kept saying no.
Wanting to hold hands.
What you wrote down, and well,
Skylar's expression.
boy, I tell you, I was.
Ooh, you can. Yep. Yeah, I definitely saw some tears there. Now she's actually crying, shaking in her hands, trying to hold it in. Yeah. Yeah.
Shh, honey, it's okay. What's the matter? Ask him.
Yeah. Gotta tell everybody else, Walter. Love the mannerisms.
I have cancer.
Yeah.
Lung cancer.
Wow, even though we know and I know that he has lung cancer, when he said that, my heart still sank. Look at this, Walter Jr. locking himself away. Yep. Hiding the tears.
Don't you see? Everybody just wants to help you.
Yes.
We're family. We get through these things together.
Everybody wants to help you, Walt, so why aren't you letting them help you, right? But again, like, so many complications.
I don't know, some kind of ventilation hood or something, and
Man, her acting is
headaches.
incredible.
This is how do they think
In
they
this
can get
scene.
away with this?
Everybody's acting and the way they're handling the situation is incredible. Like Hank's little smile and then frown again. Alright, now these two are gonna have a talk.
Walt, whatever happens, I want you to know that I'll always take care of your family.
Right. Especially Walter Jr.
Could be, yeah. You know, from time to time.
I heard you lost your partner. Emilio. Didn't you get locked up? No, man.
You see how wide his eyes are? Jesse's eyes? It's the subtle acting that gets me. It's so good.
Just recently cooked the best batch ever.
Mm-hmm.
Came up with this whole new recipe. It's more like a formula. It's like way more. You know, I don't know. I've been thinking lately, I'd just lay off of it for a while.
No, why would you give them the idea to begin with? Now they're gonna press for it, right?
Yo, if you're not in the sharing, man, just tell us to piss off. It's cool.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't need no soap opera.
But I get it though. He still doesn't know like how to handle this current situation, right?
Okay, I'm totally joking.
Because on one hand, it does present him a new opportunity, but on the other hand, it comes with a lot more risk. Especially considering that this is something that he never really wanted to begin with. Jesus, look at how paranoid he is. Love the quick cuts in the editing. Oh, these are somebody we do not know at all. Love the Dutch tilt. Really makes it uneasy. He's probably imagining this. At least I hope so. Yep. You need Jesus. Literally. I love that. Ow. Glue? I mean, I'm no medical expert, so I don't really know, but... Yeah, you gotta get rid of the bloodstain. You don't want Skylar to find it, right?
Do you need some help?
Oh no, I'm fine, honey. I'm fine. Just
Still shuts people off. But I mean, we do know why he's shutting people off, right? Because they don't want them to find out about it. But it just kind of gives those people the wrong idea of Walter.
10:45 on Friday morning.
Tick, tick,
Thank you
tick,
so
tick,
much.
tick, tick, tick. The constant ticking of the wall clock. Just reminding you that Walter does not have enough time.
The best oncologist. I mean, not even just in New Mexico, but one of the top 10 in the entire nation. His name is Dr. Del Cavoli, and we see him on Friday. I mean, Marie really came through for us. She had her boss call.
Walter just seems to not really care at all. Or at least he gives off, you know, like a dismissive response. Which is kind of normal in terms of like somebody trying to cope with his situation.
Come on, don't get hung up on money here. I mean, we can always borrow from Hank.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Money is not the issue here. It's not.
Man, the contrast in color though, like everything is green, even Walter. Skylar being the only one that is like really bright blue. I just realized he's keeping the money in the baby room. No, 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 no. Whoa, 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 whoa.
What the hell's wrong with you?
what?
You're acting all.
Yeah,
Son,
You're acting like nothing is going on.
exactly. Yeah. We know that Walter doesn't want any of this. Uh-oh. Act normal. They're probably not for you. Well, maybe they are. But you're being paranoid. You're being paranoid. I mean, this isn't gonna last long. Like, one of these days, the police will actually go for him.
They'd make me a partner at Goldberg Wayne just for walking in the damn door. That's how ecstatic they'd be. Next customer. Pills, yes, brother man.
This scene definitely encapsulates how much this person is, you know, like, living in his own world.
I think that was in our backyard.
Jesse?
What the hell are you doing out here?
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, it clicked on me.
Got new patio furniture.
Already drawing, yeah. The Hindenburg disaster? Jesus, Jesse. Red. Once again, the theming, the color, or the use of color in the show has been pretty deliberate, and it's pretty clear what they're trying to do. Did they actually shot like that entire montage for hours and then just sped it all up, or did they actually use like some special effects? Either way, it's pretty good.
Do we let him stay?
The Presbyterian Church has those meetings.
Hmm.
So maybe on condition, you know, if he agrees to attend.
A very religious, conservative family, I would assume. Jesse doesn't want to do this. He's just trying to, you know, he's just doing it because he's there.
Hey.
Give me maybe another 20 minutes and we'll get out of here.
All right.
All right.
Could make for a good conversation when they go out together. Or maybe even right now, right? 20 minutes? Father and son bonding. Love this shot, actually. And again, noticing the green and the blues.
You know, I just think that things have a way of working themselves out.
That's a very neutral response, Walt. Like, yeah, things will work out, but you know, like, yeah, both of them sighing.
Environmental Consciousness Award. What's that mean? Why you like recycle cans and shit?
I contacted the Albuquerque Journal and asked what kind of chemicals they use to bleach your paper.
Making mad inroads with the business community. All right. Not all learning comes out of books.
Ooh, I can definitely understand Jesse's like current situation and predicament right now. Like this, trying to bond together again with your sibling, don't really know what to do, so they're just saying like, hey, what have you been up to, and all that stuff. Ooh.
Damn, man, you play the flute?
It's a piccolo, actually.
Like his little brother is clearly trying to focus on, you know, his work. Jake.
It's great.
Oh, it's awkward in the best possible way.
Like, oh, we can't let that scumbag warp the mind of our favorite son.
I'm the favorite? Yeah, right. Practically all they ever talk about.
For all the wrong reasons that they talk about, but the show is great. Like, if you look deeper enough, you can understand every character and their situation, right? Even if you agree or disagree with them. Like, it's clear why Jake felt that way. He may be the most accomplished between the two brothers, but clearly not the one that, you know, that is getting the most attention. No matter what kind of attention it is. This episode is just a lot of characters just having a self-introspection. Oh, wow.
Hey, listen, you know that product? You got any more of that?
Mm-hmm.
I got this cousin, he's got him some rich friends.
Yep.
These dudes are in town, they're looking to partay. And your stuff is like so sweet.
It's about the money. It's very tempting.
Up for making some fat stacks.
Oh, you can't be serious.
Is it Jesse? Yep.
Who sent you, huh? Huh? We're in a wire? Huh? You're setting me up?
Oh, man, the paranoia between these two.
Yeah, you know, what they call debrief. Maybe we could, like, thought we could debrief.
Debrief?
Yeah, this is the episode where both of these characters realize that they can't really escape it. Like, it's way too tempting for them. Even if they deny it, even if they say no.
What? I'm just saying.
Don't come back.
$4 grand. your share from selling that batch.
He's gonna grab it. Yep. Just gonna take them all out. I mean, you know, scoop them all out.
Stage 3A, which means it's spread from the lung to the lymph nodes.
Ooh.
There's no denying it's very serious.
Oh no, what is she gonna find? Oh.
Got anything to say?
How many times have we said right here and had the same conversation over and over again where you look us in the eye and you plead ignorance and you play on our emotions and you tell us anything and everything you think we want to hear?
Wow,
just so
kind of reminds me of like a certain character, right?
Thanks for not telling on me.
Wow.
It's skunk weed anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Walter's been acting the same way this entire episode.
Skylar say that there is a way. And we spend all that money and
It didn't work. And yeah.
am I supposed to leave you with all that debt? No. Honey, I just don't want emotions ruling us.
He's thinking for the best for his family. Like, you gotta admire that.
Then why don't you just fucking die already? Just give up and die.
He didn't mean that. Walter knows he doesn't mean that, but... Walter, are you sure you should be driving? Oh, it's him again. He's gonna get his emotions to rule him. Oh, that face from him. There's malicious intent behind it. What is he doing? And of course, the dude still living in his own world did not notice it. Oh! Yeah, I see that smile, Walter. I see that smile, yeah. Okay, that was Breaking Bad, Season 1, Episode 4. I gotta say, I really enjoyed that episode. It's definitely not the most gripping episode, especially compared to, like, the previous set of episodes, right? But it's still a good episode nonetheless. And the reason being is that this episode focuses a lot on character development. And specifically, like, character interactions, character motivations, and, of course, how these characters are dealing with, you know, certain situations, right? With Walter and his family, they're dealing with, you know, Walter's cancer. With Jesse and his family, they're dealing in regards to, like, Jesse's whole situation, and, you know, like, how much they care about Jesse. We'll talk about Jesse in a minute, right? Because I kind of want to talk about Walter and his situation first. But again, overall, great episode once again. The acting, I gotta talk about the acting first. It is incredible. I mean, I've talked about it again, like multiple times before, right? The acting's great, the acting's incredible, but like I have to give them credit where credit is due, right? The subtle acting of a lot of these characters, right? Some of the little smirks, some of the little like quivering, some of the little you know, avoiding eye contact, the size and all that stuff. And you gotta commend the actors and the, you know, like the directors, right? In crafting, you know, these scenes, these moments. And it really shows how human these characters are, right? It presents this very realistic tone that, while it's still a drama, right? This is still a Hollywood drama. Things are definitely, you know, like blown to a certain proportion to, you know, for entertainment purposes, but you can still see and you can still feel this, again, like this level of realism in, you know, the story with the characters and how they talk with each other, right? It's very relatable in a sense, as in, at least for me, I can kind of understand where all of these characters are, you know, where they come from. Like, it's not always, these are not characters presented in a good or bad light. No, these are all morally gray, right? And speaking of like Walter's character and you know, the family dynamic with Walter and everybody else, you can definitely understand like Walter's situation, right? This is a character who obviously doesn't want anyone to come into his life because of how fucked up it is, right? Because of how potentially dangerous it is, and also because he doesn't really want people to know, you know, like what he did, especially considering what happened in the previous episode where he, you know, murders Crazy 8, right? And I love how this episode basically, you know, especially through Skylar, right? Because we end the previous episode with Walter Walter telling Skylar, you know, his whole situation. Like I said before, we're not gonna see it, but we do know what Walter is saying, and it's been confirmed. Skylar, and now most people know that Walter has cancer, but it's the moment when Skylar said to Walter, right? Like, you gotta help, you gotta understand that people really want to help you. You gotta let people in, right? You gotta let people help you. And while Walter says, yeah, I understand, I agree, he's not letting people do it anyways. And it's one of these situations where, if not for the fact that we know Walter's situation, we would have been very annoyed, right? Without context, Walter's character is someone who I personally would be very annoyed with, right? This character who, you know, like, doesn't really want to accept, you know, help from anybody else. Like, there's probably something wrong with this character, but we don't know why, so it just ends up being, like, aggravating and you know, hard to watch, right? But because we do know Walter's situation, because we do know that Walter's whole, you know, shutting himself off is coming from, you know, it's coming from good faith, right? It's coming from a place of goodwill. It becomes rather, I would say, it becomes sad, right? To realize that Walter really wants people to help him, but he chose not to. And it's also sad for everybody else because people really want to help Walter and they can't because Walter is shutting himself off. So it's like this barrier between Walter and everybody else, and this barrier is what is keeping both Walter it's keeping both Walter and the rest of his family unable to help each other out, right? It's this barrier that Walter himself built that is not only causing his demise, but it's also causing a fracture between him and his family. Even though, again, he made that barrier in order for people to not come into this danger zone. But then you see how much that barrier could just make things worse. with Walter Jr., right? Walter Jr. obviously really cares for his dad, and Walter obviously really cares for Walter Jr. But the problem is these two characters are unable to, to get together really well because of this whole situation. And the fact that, again, like Walter didn't really tell anybody about this whole situation. Even the fact that Walter only told Skyler and not, Walter Jr. may have also, must have hurt Walter Jr. himself, right? Like, my dad didn't want to tell me about this. Like, what's wrong? Like, do you not trust me? Right? And remembering, like, how Walter Jr., shuts himself off as well, right? Using the headsets, listening to music, crying in his own room, right? It's this whole episode is just basically communication and people not doing communication. It shows like the importance of how much how much if you communicate with one another, then it'll form a sort of understanding, right? We as an audience know these characters' whole situation, so we as audiences can understand these people, but these characters don't understand each other, and that is where the source of the main conflict is. It's really great writing. It's really great writing. And now let's shift things to Jesse, right? Because Jesse is the other half of this episode. And we finally meet Jesse's like family and their situation. And I gotta say, like Jesse's whole character, or at least how I view Jesse's character, definitely changed slightly during the course of this episode, right? Because now we know more about Jesse. Now we know more about his, I would say, childhood, his current standings, his relation with his mom and dad and brother, right? Jacob or Jake. I mean, listen, like watching like Jesse's like situation, and especially in regards to like his family, right? His mom and dad, and how they treat Jesse. Now, at the beginning, I kind of got this sort of, I would say, negative aura from both Jesse's like mom and dad, but that quickly that went out the window. Like it's clear, especially during the table scene between Jesse and his mom and dad. It's a very strained relationship between these characters, right? It's a family issue that has been going on for years now. But it's clear, like despite it all, they're like Jesse's parents are also coming from a place of goodwill, right? Jesse may disagree with them, but you gotta understand, like, as parents, Jesse's like mom and dad are obviously trying, to give Jesse, like the best, right? They especially during during the table scene when they were talking and they said, like, how many times do we have to be on this table? How many times do we have to talk it out? Like, it shows to you how much they have argued with one another, how much they have, maybe fought. But the fact that they are still able to meet again in that table and have a conversation again clearly shows that despite it all, there's still a level of care between these characters, right? Obviously, like I said, Jesse's like mom and dad. They want the best for him. They don't want Jesse to, to be living, like the worst of his life. Obviously, they have reached a boiling point where, in regards to Jacob, they see him as a bad influence, which, fair enough. fair enough, right? Would there be other ways to go about it? Yes. But given the fact that, again, they've been through this whole situation again before, multiple times in the past, right? And Jesse being, a lot more mature now, a lot more grown up, they clearly expected more from him, right? So in that regard, I can easily understand the parents' situation, even if in some ways I can also understand Jesse's situation. Yeah, of course Jesse would feel this way if his parents are acting like that, but I can also understand why the parents are acting this way, because Jesse is acting like Jesse. It's this back and forth cycle that we don't really know the root of it all, right? We don't know the cause of it, but it's a never-ending cycle of oh, we do this because they did that, and then vice versa and all that stuff. But Jesse, looking back at his childhood, looking back at those old papers, right, seeing his doodle of Professor Walter White, and flipping that around and seeing the paper test, and how he got an F, and Walter scolding him, it really hit him, right? How times have changed, how things used to be, right? The innocent childhood era is gone, it's no more. But the thing that really struck to me in the entire Jesse subplot in this episode would be one where Jesse is talking to Jacob, or Jake, in his room, and the part where he left the house later on in the episode. In regards to the Jesse and Jacob conversation in his room, it definitely feels like Jesse is trying so hard to bond with his little brother again, right? I would assume they haven't seen each other in quite a while, right? And Jesse coming into this house kind of uninvited, don't really know what to do, right? Unsure of whether he is, even if he is actually welcome or not, right? Given the the circumstances of of their past. Jesse clearly wants to make amends and try to make bonds again with his little brother. But the way everything went out in that scene kind of feels like the little brother didn't really want Jesse to be in that room, right? Kind of annoyed a bit, he's clearly trying to finish his work or whatever he's writing on the computer, and Jesse's still there, hey, look at this look at this award, look at this trophy, right? Trophy. Wait, what? Trophy. There we go. English. But seeing all of those medals and awards and all that stuff, right? Jesse's just trying to make a conversation happen, and when that didn't really go well, he moves to hey, do you play the oboe, right? Do you play the flute? Didn't really know what to do. It's very awkward, but it's well acted, like I said in the reaction, this is kind of cringe, this is kind of awkward, but it's meant to be that way, and the way the actors are acting it really sells it, so it works in that regard, and I really love it. And the last part is obviously when Jesse was going outside and about to leave. The revelation, the plot twist that, oh nope, that weed that they found isn't actually Jesse's. Nope, it actually belonged to Jacob. So Jacob's actually been doing it by himself. So whether or not it was influenced by his brother remains to be seen. Though obviously Jacob does extrude a level of jealousy towards Jesse, right? Oh, Jesse this, Jesse that. Their parents kept talking about Jesse, even though I am the one who's, the gifted one. I'm the one who has the awards and stuff, I'm the talented one, I'm the more smarter than you know, than the two of us. But it's always about Jesse. He's always the one getting the most attention. So maybe, right? Maybe he got that, you know, that smoking, you know, maybe he got into it because he sees Jesse as more of an inspiration, right? Now, of course, I'm not gonna say, you know, like Jesse's like a good role model at all. No, I don't want to say that. But the two's relationship is definitely, you know, more positive than what Jesse thought it would, right? Especially towards the end, Jesse giving, you know, taking the smoke from him and tossing it away and saying, "Nah, bro, this is cheap." You know, I would assume it's like a cheap variant. I don't know. I'm not well versed in that, you know, in that world, but I would assume that would be the case. And it's very almost heartwarming in a way, even though again it's kind of wrong, but it's still heartwarming, right? There's still that sense of humanity. Again, like it's a morally gray area where what they're doing may be wrong, but it is mending bonds and relationships, right? And that's like the good thing, right? That's the thing that people should take away from this whole situation. And in that regard, it's really good. It's really good. Now there's a lot more that we could talk about this episode. Walter's financial situation is obviously, you know, taking a big hit, right? Regarding, you know, like the payment for, you know, the chemotherapy, you know, the medical bills and all that stuff. Like it's definitely a big deal, right? Especially in regards to money. And that kind of ties in back to like, how are they gonna make money? Obviously there's one way that they could make money, right? Whether they like it or not. Jesse has a good idea of it, right? Which is kind of weird, right? Because Jesse's the one who doesn't really want to be involved with any of this again. But he also realized, you know, like the positive potential of it. And again, emphasis on the fact that Jesse didn't really want this to begin with. But because he sees the positive in it, right? Positive, quote unquote, right? You know, the money and all that stuff, right? The profit. He comes back to Walt. Walter declines. Obviously, we know he's not gonna decline later on, because obviously if he doesn't decline, then yeah. But it's that financial problem, that financial situation that has been from the very beginning, right? From the first episode. We know this. This just escalates it to a lot, you know, to a higher stake, because now the money is, you know, higher than ever. Plus the whole situation with, you know, like the family and all. Walter saying that what if he potentially dies and leaves them all in debt is really endearing, right? Like, you gotta understand his whole situation. Something that not everybody may accept in regards to, like, you know, like their family. Like, I don't think Skyler would accept that. You know, like, Skyler would be the type of person that would try to save Walter, as, you know, no matter the cost, right? A lot of familial conflict in this episode. Just why I'm really excited to see where things will go. It's definitely taking a direction where I would say it's a fairly predictable direction. And I'm not saying predictable in a negative connotation or in a negative way. No, it's predictable. I mean, like, yeah, this is exactly where things should be going, and I am enjoying it, right? This build-up of conflict and a potential resolution, being Walter and Jesse having to work together again to make more meth, to make more money, right? All for a good cause. But the question is, how much of that good cause will be shoved away for something else, right? We don't know yet. Well, at least I still don't know yet. But it's gonna cause a lot of rift. It's gonna cause a lot of conflict, and I'm excited to see where all of this goes. Yeah, man. Breaking Bad has been really great. It's been really great. I've been enjoying this episode, this entire season, this entire series a lot. So thanks to all of you who are tuning in. Thanks to all of the people over at Patreon for supporting me and watching this on early access. And I will see you all next week for the next episode of Breaking Bad. Once again, thank you all so much. Have a nice day. Take care. Peace.